Picture this. It's Friday night. You just got paid. Your bank account looks healthier than it has all month. And for one brief, beautiful moment, you feel rich. So you go out for dinner. Nothing crazy, just a nice place. Maybe you grab a few drinks. You pick up the tab for your friend because, hey, you're feeling generous. You Uber home instead of taking the bus. You order something small on your phone before bed. And then you wake up Saturday morning, check your account, and somehow $300 is just gone. You didn't buy anything big. You didn't make any crazy decisions. You were just living your life. And yet, by the time the next paycheck rolls around, you're right back where you started, counting days, watching your balance, telling yourself that next month will be different. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Next month won't be different. Not because you're bad with money, not because you don't earn enough, and not because life is unfair. It won't be different because your brain won't let it be. Your brain, the same brain that helps you solve problems, build relationships, and navigate the world, is quietly, consistently working against your financial future. And it's doing it in ways so subtle, so natural, so completely invisible that most people never even notice. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly how that happens. We're going to look at the specific psychological tricks your mind plays on you with money, why they exist, and, most importantly, what you can do to finally stop falling for them. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with a question that sounds almost offensive. Why are so many smart, hardworking people broke? We're not talking about people who are lazy. We're not talking about people who don't care. We're talking about people who know they should be saving. People who've read the articles, watched the videos, maybe even made a budget once or twice. People who genuinely want to build wealth. And yet, month after month, the money disappears. The usual explanation is simple. You need to earn more or spend less. And sure, on paper, that's true, but it misses something enormous. Because if the solution really were that simple, then every time someone got a raise, their savings would grow. Every time someone cut back on spending, they'd stay cut back. People would make a plan, stick to it, and gradually build wealth. But that's not what happens. Studies show that the majority of people who get a significant raise end up spending almost all of it within a year. Lottery winners, people who receive hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of dollars overnight, statistically return to their previous financial position within just a few years. More money comes in and more money goes out. That's not a math problem. That's a psychology problem, and it starts deep inside the human brain. Here's something your economics teacher probably never told you. Your brain was not designed for money. I know that sounds strange, but think about it. Money, as a concept, is only a few thousand years old. The idea of saving money for retirement, building an investment portfolio, thinking decades into the future about compound interest, that's extremely new territory for the human mind. Your brain, on the other hand, was shaped by millions of years of evolution. And for most of that time, the rules were completely different. Back then, the smart move wasn't to save your food for the future. It was to eat as much as possible right now because you didn't know when the next meal was coming. The smart move wasn't to delay pleasure. It was to grab every reward immediately because the future was uncertain and dangerous. In that world, the brain that said, enjoy it now, survived better than the brain that said, wait and plan. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You still have that brain. It's been dressed up a little. It's learned to speak and read and use a smartphone. But deep underneath all of that, your brain is still running ancient survival software in a modern financial world. And that mismatch is responsible for almost every bad money decision you've ever made. Let's break down exactly how this plays out. The first trick, present bias. Psychologists call it present bias. You can call it the right now brain. Here's how it works. Ask yourself, would you rather have $100 today or $150 in 1 month? Most people, if they're being honest, feel a strong pull toward the $100 right now. Even though waiting just 30 days gives you 50% more money, the right now option feels almost irresistible. Now here's where it gets interesting. This same bias plays out in tiny ways, dozens of times a day, without you even realizing it. Every time you swipe your card for something you don't really need, your brain is choosing the small reward now over the bigger reward later. Every time you skip a savings transfer because this month is tight, your brain is choosing present comfort over future security. Every time you tell yourself you'll start investing when things settle down, your brain is finding a polite way to say, I only care about right now. The future version of you, the one who wants to retire comfortably, travel, buy a house, feel free, barely exists in your brain's calculations. That person is abstract, distant, almost fictional. But this coffee, this dinner, this online cart that's been sitting there all week, that's real. That's happening right now, and your brain is wired to prioritize it. The second trick, lifestyle inflation. Now let's go back to that raise you got. When your income goes up, something almost automatic happens. Your definition of normal shifts. Things that used to feel like luxuries start to feel like necessities. You used to take the bus. Now that feels inconvenient, so you drive. You used to cook most nights. Now you're too busy and tired, so you order in. You used to shop at regular stores. Now the nicer place just feels more like you. None of these are big, dramatic decisions. They just happen, slowly, quietly. And by the time you notice, your expenses have grown to perfectly match your new income, and you're saving exactly as much as you were before. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the most reliable wealth destroyers on the planet. Here's the cruel irony. As your lifestyle inflates, your brain doesn't experience it as getting richer. It quickly adjusts to the new normal and starts to treat it as the baseline. So you feel just as financially pressured at $50,000 a year as you did at $30,000, just as stretched at $100,000 as you did at $60,000. The goalposts move, and they move automatically, without your permission. The third trick, loss aversion. Here's a question. Which would bother you more, losing $50 you already have, or not winning $50 you could have won? For almost everyone, losing $50 hurts significantly more than missing out on gaining $50. Even though both situations represent the same $50 gap, the loss feels about twice as painful. Psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky discovered this pattern decades ago and called it loss aversion. And it creates a devastating money trap. Because when you already have a comfortable lifestyle, streaming services, eating out regularly, a certain kind of car, a certain neighborhood, cutting any of those things feels like a loss, even if cutting them would free up hundreds of dollars a month for savings and investments. Your brain doesn't see it as gaining financial freedom. It sees it as losing things I already have. And because losses hurt twice as much as gains feel good, the math never quite seems worth it. This is why budgeting feels so painful even when it makes complete logical sense. It's not that you don't understand the numbers, it's that your brain is reading every budget cut as a small injury, and it will fight hard to avoid those injuries, even when the alternative is staying stuck. So let's zoom out for a second, because here's the deeper pattern running underneath all of this. Your brain is not trying to keep you broke. It's trying to keep you comfortable. It's trying to protect you from discomfort, uncertainty, and loss. In a world without financial systems, without savings accounts or retirement funds or investment portfolios, that strategy made perfect sense. But we don't live in that world anymore, and the behaviors that once kept your ancestors safe are now quietly building a cage around your financial life. Think about it this way. Imagine you're trying to drive north, but your car's GPS is permanently set to a destination in the south. You can try to steer north. You might even make progress for a while, but the whole time the system is fighting you, recalculating, pulling you back toward where it thinks you should go. That's what it feels like to try to build wealth without understanding your psychology. You make a plan, you feel motivated for a few days, and then something pulls you back. A stressful week, a social event, a sale, a mood. And somehow you end up right where you started. The GPS isn't broken, it's just pointed at the wrong destination. And here's the insight that changes everything. Willpower is not a reliable financial strategy. I'll say that again because it matters. Willpower is not a reliable financial strategy. Telling yourself to just be more disciplined is like telling yourself to be less hungry. You might manage it for a while, but you're fighting biology with intention, and biology usually wins. The people who build real wealth aren't necessarily more disciplined than you. They aren't better people. They don't have some secret reserve of self-control that you were born without. What they have is systems. They've set up their financial lives so that the good behavior happens automatically, and the bad behavior requires effort. They don't rely on deciding to save every month. The money moves before they can spend it. They don't rely on resisting lifestyle inflation. They define their lifestyle ceiling in advance. They don't try to feel motivated to invest. The investment happens whether they feel motivated or not. They've stopped trying to win an argument with their own brain. Instead, they've built a structure where the brain doesn't even get a vote. So what does this actually look like in real life? Let's make this concrete. First, automate the good behavior. If you wait until the end of the month to save whatever is left over, there will be nothing left over. The present bias brain will spend it every time. Instead, set up an automatic transfer on the day you get paid, even if it's small, even if it's just $20. The money moves before your brain knows it exists. You can't spend what you never see. This is the single most powerful financial habit you can build, not because it takes discipline, but because it requires zero discipline once it's set up. Second, name your lifestyle ceiling. Before your income grows, or even right now, decide what your lifestyle actually needs to look like for you to feel good. Not luxurious, not deprived, just genuinely comfortable. Write it down. Here's what I spend on housing, food, transport, fun. And then when the raise comes, when the bonus arrives, when the extra income shows up, you already know that the extra doesn't go to spending. It goes to the future. The decision is already made. Your brain doesn't get to renegotiate in the moment when the money feels real and exciting. Third, reframe saving as winning, not losing. Remember loss aversion, how cutting spending feels like losing something. You can hack this. Instead of framing a savings goal as I'm giving up $200 a month, try framing it as I'm keeping $200 permanently. It's mine forever. Spending it would mean losing it. It sounds like a mind game. It is a mind game, but your brain responds to framing far more than it responds to facts. Use that. Fourth, make the future feel real. One of the reasons future you has no power over present you is that future you feels completely abstract. Try this. Write down in detail what your life looks like at 60, 70, 80 if you don't build wealth. Be specific. Where do you live? What do your choices look like? What do you stress about? Then write down what that life looks like if you do build wealth. Same level of detail. The research on this is clear. When people make the future vivid and specific, their brain starts to treat it as real. And when the future feels real, it starts to compete with the present in your decisions. Future you finally gets a seat at the table.
Here's the truth that this whole conversation has been building toward. Staying broke is not a character flaw. It's not proof that you're bad with money, or that you don't want success badly enough, or that wealth is just not meant for you. It's a design feature. Your brain was engineered over millions of years to do exactly what it does with money. To spend now, to inflate comfort, to avoid loss, to discount the future. That's not weakness. That's just biology doing its job in the wrong century. The moment you understand that, everything changes. Because you stop blaming yourself for every financial stumble, and you start building the systems, the structures, the environments that make the right behavior easy and the wrong behavior harder. You stop trying to be a different person. You start building a different game. The people who escape the cycle aren't the ones who finally got tough enough. They're the ones who finally got honest enough. Honest about how their brain actually works. And humble enough to stop trusting it unconditionally. Your brain is not your enemy, but it's not your financial advisor either. Know the difference and build accordingly.